The mind is supposed to protect us from fear. But what happens when the mind itself becomes the monster? These real-life cases of psychological horror will haunt you long after the story ends. It began with a young couple, Hannah and Mark, who bought a quiet little home on the outskirts of town. The house was cheap, too cheap. The realtor shrugged it off, saying the previous owners had moved suddenly. At first, everything seemed fine, until Hannah noticed the letters. Every morning, a note appeared on their doorstep. No return address, no handwriting they recognized. Just a message, typed in bold letters. "I can see you." Mark thought it was a prank. But the notes continued. Every day, always describing something that had happened in the house the night before. "Nice red dress last night, Hannah." "Mark, don't forget to lock the upstairs window. You looked restless in your sleep." The police found nothing. No footprints. No signs of forced entry, but Hannah swore she felt eyes watching her through mirrors, through walls, through the cracks in the ceiling. And then one night, she woke to find a note lying on her pillow. "You breathe so loudly when you're afraid." Mark searched the entire house in a panic. That's when he found it. A crawl space behind their bedroom wall. Inside, stacks of old food containers, piles of notes, and a sleeping bag. They never found the intruder. The couple left the house, but Hannah still swears. Late at night, she hears faint typing. Dr. Ellen Gray was a respected psychiatrist, known for her calm demeanor, but nothing prepared her for patient 9. He was brought in after being found wandering the streets, muttering about shadows. He refused to give his name. All he said was, "They're in my head." At first, Ellen assumed paranoia, but his behavior grew stranger. He spoke in multiple voices. He scratched cryptic words into his arms. "They're watching me. Don't trust her. She's one of them." Ellen recorded his sessions. One night, reviewing the tapes, she noticed something horrifying. When patient 9 spoke in his other voices, his mouth didn't move. But the voices were still there, loud, clear, on the tape. When she confronted him, he only smiled. "You hear them too now." That night, Ellen dreamed of shadows standing at the foot of her bed. When she woke, her arms were scratched with the same words as patient 9. "They're watching." 2 weeks later, patient 9 vanished from the ward. The cameras showed his bed empty at 3 a.m., but the footage also showed something else, dozens of shapes standing around his bed just before he disappeared. Ellen quit her practice. She lives alone now, never sleeping with the lights off, but sometimes, when the power flickers, she swears she sees shadows crowding the corners of her room. College students are notorious for playing with things they shouldn't. Ouija boards, seances, dares, but this case was different. It involved a simple mobile game. It appeared on the App Store one night without warning. No developer listed, no description, just one title, Mind Maze. Students who downloaded it described it as a puzzle game. At first, harmless. Simple riddles, mazes, logic tests. But soon, the game began asking personal questions. What's your biggest fear? Who would you kill if no one found out? Where do you feel safest? And then, the game seemed to know the answers before players typed them. One student, Lisa, reported that the app showed her a live video feed of her own bedroom. She deleted the game immediately, but that night, she woke up to find her phone on her pillow. The app open. On the screen, one final message. Level complete. You're mine now. Lisa vanished the next day. Her phone was found at the edge of the woods, still open on Mind Maze. The game disappeared from the App Store. But sometimes, at 3 a.m., if you search hard enough, people say it reappears for just a few minutes. And if you download it, it never lets you go. In 1972, a group of psychology students decided to test a theory that staring into a mirror for long periods could induce hallucinations. They set up cameras, lit candles, and each took turns staring at their reflection in a darkened room. At first, the results were mild faces distorting, features melting, normal psychological effects. But then, the reflections began moving independently. One student swore his reflection leaned forward, though he hadn't moved. Another claimed it whispered his name. The final subject, Daniel, refused to speak after his turn. He clawed at his own face, screaming, "It's not me! It's not me!" When the others reviewed the tapes, their blood ran cold. In Daniel's video, his reflection didn't just move on its own. It stepped out of the mirror. Daniel was institutionalized. He never looked at a mirror again. And to this day, researchers warn against prolonged mirror-gazing experiments, because sometimes what looks back at you isn't you at all. Hotel staff are trained to keep their cool, but even the most hardened manager at the Briarwood Inn refuses to talk about Room 6. Guests who stay there report the same thing. At exactly 3:15 a.m., the phone rings. When they answer, a voice says their full name. Slowly, carefully, "You shouldn't be here. Name." Then, the line goes dead. Some guests check out immediately. Some don't wake up at all. One businessman, Mr. Collins, stayed despite the warnings. He told staff he didn't believe in ghost stories. The next morning, housekeeping found him sitting upright in bed, eyes wide open, mouth frozen in a scream. He was dead, but the phone was off the hook, and the last number dialed wasn't the front desk. It was his own cell phone. These are not urban legends. These are not campfire tales. They are documented cases, real people, real minds, real horrors. Because the scariest monsters aren't always in the shadows. They're in your reflection. They're in your phone. They're in your walls. They're in your head. And the worst part? Once you know about them, once you've heard their stories, they know about you, too. So tonight, when you turn off the lights and lie in bed, don't be surprised if you hear a whisper in the dark. Don't be surprised if your phone lights up at 3:15 a.m. with a message only you can read. And don't be surprised if your reflection doesn't smile back the way it should, because the mind plays tricks, and some tricks never end. As you flick the lights back on, remember this tale of terror and join us for more. If you enjoyed the darkness, please subscribe, hit that like button, and let us know your reactions in the comments. Share this spine-chilling story with friends to keep the fright going.